This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time to stand. It starts with a voice.
Welcome to the Special Chronicles podcast. My name is Daniel Smrokowski. I'm the founder and host of Special Chronicles and an EnergyForce Ambassador with ComEd and a Southern Shriver Global Messenger alum with Special Olympics. Our website, specialchronicles.com. You can follow us on socials and wherever you get your podcasts. So excited to have a returning guest on this week on the Special Chronicles podcast EnergyForce Series, Season 7, Part 7. Our topic is we're prepping for National Disability Employment Awareness Month that is taking place in October. You guys are hearing this in August. Our guest is a returning guest, Jack Mayo, to talk about his role as an EnergyForce Ambassador, his work as a state of Illinois and global ambassador with Best Buddies, and his job at Oberweis. Please put your virtual hands together as we welcome Jack on the Special Chronicle. Welcome back, Jack, on Special Chronicles.
Thank you, Daniel. Hello, everybody.
It's good to have you back on the program, Jack. You were in the pre-show, which for those of you listening, if you want to be able to hear Jack and I and his job coach, Abby, get ready to record. We've got a 20-minute pre-show. If you want to be able to watch that exclusively, you can join at specialchronicles.com/plus to be able to join and watch that. I think the lowest is $10 a month. Could be $5 a month. I don't know. Just go to specialchronicles.com/plus and you guys can look at. Yeah. Anyways. It's been a few years, Jack, since you have been last on, and in that time we have a lot of new listeners that are just meeting you for the first time. So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us what disability you were diagnosed with, and tell us about your family.
Absolutely. So my name is Jack Mayer. I am an Illinois state and global ambassador for Best Buddies International. I was diagnosed with autism at the age of 6. And because of this experience, I have been able to, because of the experiences that I've had and the support from my family, I have been able to just be able to educate the public about inclusion. My family consists of, I'm the oldest of 4 younger siblings, and I have 54 cousins as a fun fact.
Awesome.
On my dad's side. Yeah. 54
awesome.
Cousins.
Awesome. And speaking of another fun fact that I'm going to kind of throw in for our listeners, we, in addition to outside of both of us being EnergyForce ambassadors with ComEd, even prior to that, you and I met at one of the Best Buddies friendship walks back, not when it was at Soldier Field, but back in the, I guess the
Brookfield
kids say,
Zoo.
yeah, the OG days at the Brookfield Zoo.
Yes.
So somewhere we will. I know your job coach has taken some behind the scenes pictures of us now, but I'll try to. I'll try to see if I can find that picture too. And so when this episode drops, we'll maybe share that picture as well of us back from the Best Buddies friendship walk that we were both at. So let's before we get into the focus, share with our listeners, just so they've got some background on you. What are some of the challenges because of your disability?
My main challenge with my autism, I feel like, and I think you can relate to this too, is a lot of this. I mean, everyone with autism can relate to it, is the social aspect. You know, having autism comes with a lot of different social not disconnects, but like just it's harder for people like us to socially connect with others because sometimes we may not be fully aware of what to say or how to react in certain situations. So my biggest challenge for me is more of the social. It's more of the social like aspect of it, the nonverbal cues and all that type of stuff. I also think another big challenge with my autism is sometimes my anxiety. I feel like I get anxious or over anxious about certain things. So yeah, but I've learned to embrace it over the years and I'm embracing it every day.
Awesome. And just like our challenges are not the focus of Best Buddies. It's not the focus of this podcast on Special Chronicles. But it's on our joys and accomplishments. So can you share with us what are some of the joys and accomplishments because of your disability? We'll get into some of those later on this episode, but what are some of the an overview of what some of the joys and accomplishments because of your disability?
I think my autism, my special ability, has provided me the ability to memorize things such as, speeches, and it's given me a great calendar memory. Like the last time I was actually on Special Chronicles with Daniel was May 31st of 2021, which was a Monday. So it's given me that calendar memory. It's also given me a chance to give me the ability to talk in front of people and have the courage to share my story and empower others about what Best Buddies does and give people the chance to understand the power of inclusion, not just through I feel like my skill sets of just talking to people and being confident in a room and working the room has given me that's why I'm blessed to have autism. And it's given me the photographic memory piece. Absolutely. And
awesome,
so much more.
Awesome. And I want to touch on something that you said, special ability, because that reminded me of something, another place where we may have met back in, I believe it was 2017. I spoke at the Best Buddies International Leadership Conference in Bloomington, Indiana. I don't know if we met backstage there. Possibly.
I think we did.
I think we did. Yeah.
Yeah, at the closing ceremonies, because you did opening and closing ceremonies.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Now it's coming back. It was quite a few years ago, but yeah, now it's coming back. That's another place where prior to our ambassador roles with ComEd, that's another place where we have both met at the Best Buddies Leadership Conference. And so something I recall. Anthony Kennedy Shriver, the founder and chairman and CEO of Best Buddies, talked about, he used that same term, special ability, because I think there's a lot in our community. People can, I'm in the process of, actually, I don't know if I can say, okay, okay, this is not public yet. So I'll just say I'm working on something weekly with somebody that we on Sunday evenings. I will, hopefully next year I can announce it. But anyways, we talked about how in our community, people can't, like some people like to use the word disability. Some people like to say special needs. Some people don't like to say that, and people can't agree on what the term is. But I like, and some people say neurodivergent, and all different types of terms. I liked what you said, which I think is something that Anthony Kennedy Shriver had said too. So hopefully he we'll have to send this podcast to him, so hopefully he'll listen. But
Yes.
he used that term special ability. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit of that and on what Anthony Kennedy Shriver was talking about when he used the term special ability?
Absolutely. So Anthony's vision for using that word or using the term special abilities is to look past the label. So it's to look past the label and see the abilities. Like, look at what my autism has given me. Look at what all of our special abilities has given us. Our special ability, my autism, when I said earlier about being able to speak and being able to memorize like dates and being able to memorize speeches and empower others. That's the thing. That's the power of special abilities. It's more than just a label. It's what we're blessed with. I mean, I think that when he says, like special abilities is to look past the label and look at the person and what they can do and what they're able to accomplish and what they're going to accomplish. I think it's more important to see the abilities in a person than to see the label. And because the labels have so many meanings. So by using the word special abilities, it takes that all away. It erases the label and the stigma that comes from having a disability or disability or special ability. It focuses directly on the abilities, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And I love what you said, because like for myself with the learning disabilities that I have, I often say that communication is my biggest struggle, but it's also my biggest passion. And so being able to communicate behind this microphone for the past 16 years is the special ability that I've taken and the like what you said, that's the power of my special ability, just like what you have, how you have taken public speaking and being in a state and global ambassador with Best Buddies. You've taken that special ability and really, I think if there's a lesson that people would have learned from your story, people were able to learn a lesson from your story and my story, with the power that we have of taking our special abilities goes beyond just being an inspiration. I think a lot of times that inspiration poem type of thing that people may put, I think the power of the special ability goes beyond into empowerment, and it goes beyond just being inspired by us.
Absolutely. It definitely does. It goes beyond than just an inspiration. It's what we do, and we love what we do. So I think that what you just said there, it goes beyond just the inspiration and focuses on more, this is just what we do and we love doing it. And we all have different paths, and I feel like we all should support each other, and that's exactly what this is about.
Awesome. I'm going to take a quick break just to let all of you listening out there know that support for Special Chronicles comes from listeners like you. Please join our supporters with a monthly or one-time donation so we can operate our studio, continue our mission, giving respect and voice to those of us like Jack and myself with disabilities. Visit specialchronicles.com/give, or if you want to access that premium and bonus content, that pre-show, specialchronicles.com/plus to join now and access our bonus content and help support the show. Specialchronicles.com/plus for just $5 or $10 a month, whatever it is. So if you go there, you'll see. Just a one-time donation. With that, if our listeners are watching, they'll see some ComEd branding on it. I think it's covered on with your lower third, Jack. But
Yeah, it's right
now,
here.
yeah, now they see. So on you or me or even in the banner up at the top, presented by ComEd. There's a reason why, because not only is ComEd a partner of Special Chronicles and Best Buddies Illinois, but you and I are both EnergyForce ambassadors. So how, of course, the listeners could go back and listen to the last episode that you were on, but share with us how you first heard about the ComEd EnergyForce Ambassador, because next week's guest on this podcast, I am going to have one of the staff at ComEd who actually introduced me to this program. After 7 years, finally having the person on that introduced me to this. So, but more about that next week. If you guys all stay following or subscribe, stay following this podcast. You will know when that episode drops. But how did you first hear about the ComEd EnergyForce Ambassador Program, and how did you hear about it?
Yes. So actually, Best Buddies reached out, and Illinois did. Best Buddies Illinois. They got me this opportunity they blessed me with the opportunity to be a ComEd EnergyForce ambassador. And that's how I heard about it. I mean, they basically reached out and said, because it was like the middle of the pandemic. So a program manager that that used to be at BBIL, Best Buddies Illinois, she reached out to me and my mom, and she was like, do you want to pursue this? This is very similar to Best Buddies, but it's a different topic, different audience. And I was like, yes, absolutely. I mean, and it's definitely furthered my public speaking career.
Awesome. So drawing upon that of you saying yes, why did you say yes? Why did you say yes to wanting to become because it's unlike, well, the topics and the advocating that you speak on behalf of Best Buddies, unlike the advocating and the speaking that I do for Special Olympics, both in Illinois and on the global level, this type of ambassadorship role with ComEd is the energy and solar efficiency education topics is something different than the public speaking that you and I are used to with these two movements of Special Olympics and Best Buddies. But why did you want to say yes to becoming an EnergyForce ambassador?
I think one of the main reasons why I said yes was to kind of push myself in a different light, in a different direction. And I wanted to see what was this all about. I honestly was very optimistic about it. And, Best Buddies cares so much about me to the point, and everyone obviously, that when they asked me for this opportunity, I was like, of course, because I wanted to learn more about ComEd. I wanted to learn more on how I can tailor that into my public speaking skills, and how I can kind of like tailor my skill sets into the ComEd environment. So I think it was more just the fact of learning more in personal development and just growing. And yes.
Awesome. This is why you make a perfect guest on the podcast, is because it's your responses are transitioning from one topic to another. Building upon that, there's a lot of skills that we have in this role as an EnergyForce ambassador. So what skills have you learned as an EnergyForce ambassador, and then go into a few of your favorite engagements? Maybe it's this podcast might be your favorite, but what's some of the skills that you have learned as an EnergyForce ambassador, and then go into your favorite engagement?
Absolutely. I actually was just going to say this podcast is my favorite. I love talking to people. I love all the tablings too. I love talking to people. I love making the videos. I make like a bunch of videos with my best buddy, Amy, who is actively involved in Best Buddies. She is my best buddy. Besides Josie, if you guys have heard my speeches in the past, me and Amy make these ComEd videos about saving energy, and we incorporate like a reality TV theme. I'm not sure if you're familiar with like Real Housewives.
No.
And yeah, it's a reality show we watch, and they're all a bunch of women arguing, and it's so funny. So we make a little twist on it to connect it with ComEd and ways to save energy. I think one of the biggest skills that I have learned from this program, I think one of the biggest skills I've learned from this EnergyForce program is really to be conscious about how much you're using energy. For example, I'm going to say this for the record. My mom, we have this thermostat, and they encourage you at ComEd to turn down the thermostat, or turn down the thermostat during the winter and turn it up during the summer. Yeah. And why that is, and Daniel and I both know this, is because it reduces the cost of energy, and and when you turn your energy up or if you turn your thermostat like down during the cold during the summer, it wastes all that for the winter. So by turning it up during the summer and low during the winter, it reduces energy costs, and it makes your heating system work better. So that's one of my favorite tips, because I find it so interesting that it's the opposite. But my mom doesn't really do that. So it was like 65 degrees in my house the other day. And I was like, I told my mom this before, but she's like, no, it's too hot outside, so I don't want it to be hot inside. I'm like, okay, but we got to save energy here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure listeners appreciated that tip as well. What would you say to encourage others with disabilities or other organizations to get involved with the ComEd EnergyForce Ambassador Program to do what you and I are doing? And I think I want to say those are at least 30 of us that are involved in the program, but what would you say to encourage other organizations and ambassadors to get involved?
I would definitely say to encourage other organizations and ambassadors to get involved. I would say, you could always, I think one of the main things is to look at ComEd's EnergyForce program and learn more what it's about. You could probably go to like the ComEd website, and they actually, I think, have an EnergyForce link. You could go to, it's ComEd.com/EnergyForce, right? Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah. We'll put a link in the show notes, but yeah.
Yes. So so you can learn more about that by just going to the website. You could also reach out to your local communities that partner with ComEd, and that a special, or they call it Disability Task Force. Yeah. I call it Special Ability Task Force. Yeah. But you could always reach out to your local cities, like Disability Committee or Task Force, and they might have connections through ComEd. So you never know where that could lead you. So that's my encouragement, is reach out to people, network, big number one thing.
Absolutely. I'm going to take one final break before we get to the final couple of segments, talking all about disability employment. After this quick break, to let you all know that support for Special Chronicles comes from the ComEd EnergyForce Ambassador Program, the country's first energy and solar efficiency education program designed for and taught by people with disabilities like Jack and myself. And learn more at specialchronicles.com/ComEd, specialchronicles.com/ComEd, and support comes from the United Airlines Bridge Disability Business Resource Group, connecting people with our abilities. Learn more on United Airlines' commitment to disability inclusion for employment and travel at specialchronicles.com/united, specialchronicles.com/united. And with that, oh, there we go. We're back. With that, the main got less than only about 6 minutes left in the program, so not a lot of time to cover the most important topic of the episode today. But And you tell us, well, you shared with us, well, okay. I was going to say share with us how you got involved with Best Buddies, but maybe we're going to maybe kind of just briefly in like 30 seconds to a minute, how you got involved, like just some brief highlights of your experience as a Illinois state and global ambassador with Best Buddies. So this is some highlights of that experience.
Absolutely. So I started off as a state ambassador in 2016, and my biggest highlight since then has been, gee, this is a hard one. I mean, there's so many highlights. I could go on and on forever, but I think my biggest highlight is being able to go to the friendship walks. And this year we had our Will County friendship, our Best Buddies friendship walk at Will County. And it was a success. It was a blast. I loved it. I love that it was like in the closer to my house, and that they had it in my county. So that's number one. Number two, for being a global ambassador, my biggest highlight is going to Hyannisport. We have a big Hyannisport like challenge ride where the bikers ride around the compound, and they do it to support Best Buddies programs. So those are my two major highlights.
Awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun. I see a lot of pictures, whether you and your program are sharing or Anthony and Best Buddies International are sharing. But I'd love to be able to someday join you guys at one of those, because it sounds like a lot of fun. How, as we both know, Best Buddies has a jobs program. This ComEd EnergyForce Ambassador Program gives us job skills. How have your roles as a Best Buddies state and global ambassador, as well as an EnergyForce ambassador with ComEd, how have those experiences prepared you for, and how has those given you the skills for your job at Oberweis Daily? Because I don't think we said that at the top of the episode, but that's your other job. So how has Best Buddies and ComEd given you the skills for your job at Oberweis Daily?
Absolutely. So Best Buddies and ComEd has given me so many skill sets to interact with people. You know, one thing that I think I've learned from interacting with different people is, you know, I think everyone has different personalities, and we're all created in our own unique way. I think one of the main things I learned is just to balance my personality and my personality with other people. And by doing that, by interacting with them, like if they want like a short conversation, I can be like, okay, that and still show that I'm positively engaged. And then if they want to engage in a long conversation, I engage with them, with the customers as well. So I feel like, I also feel like because of the skills of interacting with people, I've gotten quicker on my feet and better at it each time while being at Oberweis. And I'm able to showcase different like compassion and empathy and seeing what the guest needs at that time. So it all depends on the situation, really. It's just like if the guest needs extra ice cream, I'll provide that to them. If they need so that time as an example.
Awesome. I love what you said there, and I want to briefly just touch on a couple of things that you said. One is, and I know from my experience of trying to apply for different jobs and people like saying that, oh, I didn't have eye contact, or like those limitations that I think some employers might come to us and say, oh, you didn't do that. But I love what you touched on, especially the compassion and empathy, because that's something in my other job at United Airlines as a service ambassador, as an employee of United Airlines, that a few people have commented, and like, so those there's a few different values that, well, there's 4 different values that United has, and one of those is caring, and which I think kind of ties in perfectly with the empathy and the compassion that you said is whether it's caring or showing empathy or showing compassion. People like you and me and those of us with intellectual and developmental disabilities, those are some of the skills of the skills of caring, the skills of empathy, the skills of compassion that we bring to the workplace. Is there anything else related to this? I know we've got just a couple minutes left, but is there any other skills around disability employment that you want to highlight for and share with our listeners?
Absolutely. I think just one major thing is networking. Like I said earlier, networking is a major thing. Like, it's so important to interact with people, and it's so important to build connections, because you'll never know where you'll end up. And it could lead you to so many great places. So that, and number 2, being able to, I think one of the main things is just to understand that we all have our stories, we all have our experiences, and recognize the abilities, recognize what we can bring to the table. And I know my employer at Oberweis, Lisa, and also Best Buddies, everyone at Best Buddies has recognized my abilities and recognized what I could bring to the table and what I can do for them. And in addition to just showing up to work and being reliable and being respectful and showing that compassion and empathy towards other people. So that's my main focus on that.
I love that focus. To wrap that up, is networking is a huge part that I think that's another, I think another stigma that people might have is for us, that we don't know how to network. But because of job skills, through Best Buddies, through the ComEd EnergyForce Ambassador Program, through Special Olympics, and through all of these organizations and programs, that they're able to give us that experience of just how to network and the skills to be successful on the job. How long have you been at Oberweis Daily?
5 years.
Awesome. Yeah. So just like you, this October will be 5 years that I've been at United Airlines. So so that's a big milestone to, I think, for all community, for people like us to be at a company for 5 years. Anyways, the final segment, we'll get into some final plugs. How can if a listeners want to learn more and get involved with Best Buddies Illinois, and even if they're listening you're listening in another state or another country, you can where can our listeners get to follow Best Buddies Illinois and or get involved in the local Best Buddies chapter?
Yes. So you could go to bestbuddies.org/Illinois, and you can most certainly learn more about Best Buddies and the incredible programs that we have. If you are an ambassador and you're interested in becoming one, just learn about this at bestbuddies.org/Illinois, and you can connect with a program manager, and they will be able to help you with all of that and make the magic work.
Awesome. And you had said about that, so that if and we'll put those links if you're not watching the video in the description below. But if they go to bestbuddies.org/Illinois, just some brief highlights of what's a few of the pillars or programs that Best Buddies offers.
Absolutely, yes. So we offer inclusive living. We offer one-to-one friendships. We offer integrated employment, which is our jobs program. And then we also offer our leadership development, that's our ambassador program, and our 5th one that is recently coming out, it's called Uni's Buddies, which is more for parents and people coming into the program.
I heard about that. I think it was on I want to say the Today Show, I think had talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah, Anthony was on the Today Show and a couple months back, and he got interviewed.
Awesome. So we'll put so for those of you who want to learn more, and if either you yourself want to get involved, or you know somebody like Jack and myself that wants to get involved in Best Buddies, bestbuddies.org/Illinois, and then we're on social media. Where on socials can people follow Best Buddies?
They could follow them. I would say Facebook and Instagram for sure. Facebook and Instagram are the 2 main sources. So yes, we have at Best Buddies IL Instagram and Facebook. If you just type in Best Buddies Illinois, it should pop up. Awesome. So feel free to look at Best Buddies Illinois on Facebook and Instagram.
Awesome. And when this episode goes live, folks, we'll put those links in the show notes in the description below wherever you're listening, so you guys can learn more and follow Best Buddies Illinois. And with that, we will. I know this time. I think last time you were on, which was a little bit over. I think it was over an hour, but this just because of the time, and we're trying to keep these episodes to around half an hour, which was somewhat there. Just because my mom had heard that people like these snack size content, so we try to keep it short. But do you have any final thoughts before we get to the final question? Any final thoughts on your overall time here as now a 2-time guest on the Special Chronicles podcast?
My only final thought, honestly, is, if you're my biggest thing, and I'm pretty sure Daniel you can relate to this too, is to those that are listening, if you are passionate about something and you really care about what you're doing, whether it's Best Buddies, whether it's ComEd, whether it's Special Olympics, whether it's a charity that you're involved in, whatever it is, don't be afraid to reach it. Don't be afraid to go after it and do what you're destined to do. So that's my final thought.
Awesome. And we got one final question. And to introduce that final question, we've got a bumper. So let's go ahead and roll that bumper.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising. Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Our demands are
equality,
dignity,
and the recognition of our shared humanity.
We will not stop or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
more divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
Ever since I attended the 2019 Special Olympics World Games, I've been asking all the guests one final question, and I think, as you know, the inclusion revolution is not only a big message in Special Olympics and Special Chronicles here, but also Best Buddies as well. And so we not only want our listeners to hear your content, hear this content, hear your story, but to take action and bring it into the communities. And so this final question kind of gets to the heart of what we want our listeners to gain from listening to this podcast. And so we'll wrap up, Jack, and ask you, what does inclusion mean to you?
Inclusion means to me, I could make a long list of things, Daniel, but I'm going to keep it short. One of the main things inclusion means to me is just showing kindness and compassion and empathy for others. For example, if your friend is having a bad day, do something kind for them. And another example would be if someone does something kind for you, pay it forward. Do it to 3 other people in your life. It could be a brother, a sister, a cousin, an aunt, or uncle. Whoever it is, or a friend, or a random stranger on the street. If someone does something kind to you, make them feel included. And do just that to 3 or 4 other people, and you will be fulfilled. Being kind to others and choosing to include others makes not you just feel good, but it makes the whole world a better place. So
Awesome.
Pay it forward. That's what it means to me.
Awesome. That's a perfect way to wrap up this episode. And before we get going and let you all get back to the rest of your week, I want to remind you all, for those of you listening, you can support you can join our supporters and help support this podcast with a one-time or monthly donation so we can operate our studio and continue our mission, giving respect and voice to those of us with disabilities. You can join our Special Chronicles Plus and support this podcast at specialchronicles.com/plus. That's specialchronicles.com/plus. And you can shop our merchandise store. Hopefully, Jack, you and others at Best Buddies will go head on over there too. I just got a picture from one of my friends in Great Britain, who is a 6-time World Games cyclist, and it's our Disabled Voices Matter line of merch. I'm not wearing the t-shirt today, but we've got coffee mugs, hoodies, t-shirts that says Disabled Voices Matter. You can shop and know that 60% of the profits will go back to Special Chronicles. Specialchronicles.com/shop. Specialchronicles.com/shop is where you all can go to get our Disabled Voices Matter line of merch. And tap that follow button. Jack and I will go ahead and wait for you guys all to go tap that follow button so you never miss a new episode that drops every Monday right here on specialchronicles.com. And subscribe to our newsletter, follow us on social media, all that. Until then, Jack, thank you. Our guest has been Jack Mayo, Best Buddies Illinois State and Global Ambassador. Thank you again, Jack, for coming on the Special Chronicles podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you, Daniel.
And until then, everyone, we'll talk to you all next week. And until then, choose to include.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles podcast. Our podcast was produced by Daniel Smrokowski on the Special Chronicles Network. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes absolutely for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites, original series, award-winning columns, and blogs. And sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, specialchronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard. Thanks, as always, to our business manager, Adam Smrokowski, who always encourages us to never give up. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, back next week with more stories.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.